Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. The stars stretched endlessly across the sky as the alien intelligence officer stared at the glowing console in the command room. Data streams moved faster than the eye could follow, showing star systems, fleets, and the movements of countless civilizations. Among all this information, one report caught his attention: a signal from a small blue planet on the edge of the galaxy. The readings were strange, inconsistent, yet undeniably powerful. The officer leaned closer, his multiple eyes scanning the patterns. Humans. That was the name given to the creatures on this planet. According to previous reports, they were a primitive species, not worth much attention, and certainly not a threat. Yet, something in this new intelligence disturbed him. He had seen many civilizations rise and fall, many species grow bold and fail, but humans were different. They moved in ways the calculations could not predict. Their actions did not fit any known pattern. The officer felt a chill as he realized the humans were not just surviving, they were improving, learning faster than any other species recorded. His claws tapped nervously on the console as he accessed the full intelligence report. Every bit of data painted the same picture. Humans were unpredictable. Their military strategies were unconventional, their technology developing in leaps that no one had anticipated. The report even hinted at a form of intelligence that was not purely logical but combined creativity, intuition, and courage in ways alien minds struggled to comprehend. The officer's mind raced. The Council would never approve a direct engagement without full understanding, and yet, here was evidence that humans were capable of far more than anyone expected. He sent a quick encrypted message to his superiors, marking the humans as a potential threat and urging further surveillance. The message read simply, "Unpredictable. Must monitor closely. Potential danger." His multiple eyes flicked back to the screen as he watched a human military base transmit signals across their planet. Even from this distance, patterns were emerging, but they were not patterns anyone could fully understand. Humans were learning from every encounter, adapting, improving, and their military exercises showed innovation beyond logic. The officer frowned. No other species in history had combined strategy and creativity so effectively. Every simulation the intelligence network ran against humans failed. Time after time, humans reacted in ways the aliens had never predicted. The officer felt a strange sense of respect mingled with fear. Could this species survive a galactic war? Could they rise to challenge other empires? He could not answer. All he knew was that humans were different, and difference always brought risk. As he continued reviewing the report, the officer discovered something more disturbing. The humans were not just adapting, they were communicating in ways the alien network could not fully decrypt. Codes, signals, tactics, even morale seemed linked to an intelligence beyond calculation. The officer realized that any direct observation risked exposure. Humans might notice, and if they did, what then? Would they flee, fight, or worse, retaliate with strategies no one could anticipate? The stakes were higher than he imagined. He tapped a button and zoomed in on human military leaders in a simulation exercise. The humans were training for war, yet even in practice, they displayed courage, teamwork, and initiative that no algorithm could predict. The officer's claws froze over the console. This was no ordinary species. If humans continued to evolve like this, they might challenge the balance of power in this region of the galaxy. He knew he had to act carefully. The intelligence report needed to be sent to the Council, but he could not include his full personal assessment. Too many in the Council would dismiss it as exaggeration. He typed the official version: "Humans were developing rapidly, monitor for potential threat." Then, in a private encrypted channel, he added his note: "This species may be unlike anything we have ever seen. They are unpredictable, intelligent, and resourceful. We must watch closely." The officer leaned back in his chair and exhaled. The hum of the ship surrounded him, but he could feel a tension in the air, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. He watched humans continue their daily routines, completely unaware that their every movement was being studied by a species far older and more experienced. And yet, they were not ordinary prey. They were something else entirely. The officer realized the full weight of his task. He was the first to notice the human's potential, the first to see the seeds of greatness, and danger they carried. Any misstep could alert humans to the surveillance. Any wrong move could start a conflict before they were ready. His mind raced with possibilities. Should he report everything immediately or continue monitoring in secret? Could the council make sense of this? The officer tapped the console again, watching the humans train in strange formations, practicing drills that seemed simple but were anything but. Every movement was calculated, yet it appeared natural, unforced. He could feel his heart, or the alien equivalent, beat faster. Humans were learning faster than expected. The officer realized one truth that chilled him more than any battle. They were ready to change, to grow, to surprise. And if they did, the galaxy might never be the same. Finally, he sealed the intelligence report, marking it confidential, human military assessment, unpredictable threat. He knew the council would review it tomorrow, debate it, dismiss it, or act upon it. But for now, the officer stared at the small blue planet with a mixture of fear, awe, and curiosity. These humans, so fragile in appearance yet so cunning, had captured his attention. He knew this was only the beginning. The discovery had been made, the first step in understanding a species that could either be a great ally or a formidable enemy. The room grew quiet except for the soft hum of the console, and the officer whispered to himself, "This species is unlike any we have ever seen. Watch them closely. They are dangerous and remarkable." The council chamber was vast, its walls shimmering with soft, shifting lights that reflected the history of countless civilizations. The alien intelligence officer entered, carrying the sealed report on the humans. As he stepped forward, dozens of council members turned their many eyes toward him, some curious, some skeptical, some openly hostile. The humans had been considered a minor species, insignificant in the grand balance of power. Now, one officer dared to suggest they were something more, something dangerous. The officer approached the central console and projected the report for all to see. Streams of data, images of human military exercises, and intercepted communications floated in the air. The room fell silent. One elder council member spoke first, her voice sharp and measured. "You claim that these humans are unpredictable. Explain yourself. This species has shown nothing that warrants concern. They are primitive, barely capable of interstellar travel, yet you suggest they are a threat." The officer swallowed, feeling the weight of the room's judgment. "My lords," he began, "these humans are unlike any species we have encountered. Their intelligence adapts in ways no algorithm can predict. Their military strategies combine logic with creativity. Every simulation we have run against them has failed. They are learning faster than we anticipated. If we do not monitor them carefully, they may become a serious threat to the region." Murmurs spread across the chamber. Some council members leaned forward, interested, while others shook their heads, dismissing the report as exaggeration. One younger member spoke, his tone curious but cautious. "Are you suggesting they could challenge an established empire? That seems impossible. They have no fleets capable of interstellar combat, no advanced weaponry." The officer nodded. "It may seem impossible, but the data does not lie. They innovate constantly. Their weapons and tactics are evolving. They are unpredictable, resourceful, and courageous. I believe they possess a potential we cannot ignore." A stern counselor rose, his multiple arms gesturing as he spoke. "We do not act on speculation. Every species has potential. Why should humans be different?" The officer projected live footage from the human planet, showing a military training exercise. Humans moved in formation, but not in patterns any alien mind could anticipate. They reacted instantly to simulated threats, improvising strategies with speed and precision. The footage showed them outmaneuvering automated drills designed to overwhelm them. Gasps echoed in the chamber. Some members whispered to each other, clearly disturbed by what they were seeing. "This species is learning in real time," the officer continued. "Their minds combine logic and creativity in ways we have never recorded. If we underestimate them, it could cost us dearly in the future." The elder counselor leaned forward, her many eyes narrowing. "And you suggest what?" "That we attack them preemptively." The officer hesitated. "No, my lords. Attack would be premature. We do not fully understand them. But continued observation, covert surveillance, and intelligence gathering are essential. We must study them, assess their growth, and be ready for any outcome. Another member, clearly impatient, slammed a claw on the table. Enough talk of caution. If they are truly a threat, we should eliminate them before they rise. Why waste time watching? A heated debate erupted. Factions formed quickly. Some argued for immediate action, citing the humans' unpredictability as a danger. Others insisted that observation was wiser, noting the humans' current technological limitations. Voices overlapped, some shouting, some pleading for reason. The officer remained silent, letting the council argue, knowing that his role was only to present facts. Even as the argument grew intense, he could see the fear in some council members' eyes. The humans were small, fragile, and yet the data suggested they could cause significant disruption if underestimated. Hours passed, and finally, the elder counselor raised her hands, silencing the chamber. "We are not ready to act," she declared. "But neither are we blind. This species will be monitored closely. We will assign a special envoy to study them in person, gather intelligence, and report back. No interference, no attack. Observation only." Relief and tension mixed among the members. Some nodded in agreement, others scowled. The officer exhaled, knowing that the humans were temporarily safe from direct aggression, but fully aware that the council's curiosity meant closer scrutiny. As the chamber emptied, the officer was approached by a member from the faction advocating for preemptive action. "You are playing a dangerous game," the counselor warned. "If these humans detect our interest, it could provoke them. Are you sure observation is enough?" The officer met their gaze steadily. "Yes. Any action now could reveal us and make them aware of the galaxy beyond their world. We must be patient. Let them grow, let them evolve. The true test will come when they are ready, not before." That night, the officer returned to the ship, the council chamber quiet behind him. He reviewed the intelligence once more, tracing human military patterns, their technological developments, and even cultural signals that hinted at a species capable of cooperation, bravery, and strategic thinking. Each discovery added weight to his concern. The humans were not just surviving, they were preparing. The officer realized that the envoy mission would be dangerous. Infiltrating a planet of intelligent beings without alerting them required precision, caution, and skill. One mistake could trigger a conflict before the council even had time to respond. He studied the projected trajectory of the humans' growth. In decades, they might develop fleets capable of interstellar travel. In centuries, they could challenge even advanced empires. Yet, for now, they were unaware, living their lives, training their armies, and growing stronger every day. The officer understood one truth that the council might not fully grasp: humans were unpredictable. Their creativity, courage, and intelligence made them unlike any species in the galaxy. They could be allies, they could be threats, or they could rise to greatness beyond imagination. The council had chosen observation, but the officer knew this was only the beginning. The humans had caught his attention, and once that happened, he could not turn away. The universe was changing, slowly, quietly, with humans at the center of a story no one had expected. The officer looked out at the stars, contemplating the vast possibilities. Somewhere on that small blue planet, humans were unaware of the attention they had drawn. And yet, the first seeds of an epic encounter had been sown. The council had decided, but the fate of the humans and the galaxy was far from certain. The officer whispered to himself, "Watch closely. Learn everything. The humans may surprise us all." The small blue planet rotated slowly beneath the alien envoy ship as it descended silently through the atmosphere. From orbit, Earth seemed peaceful, almost fragile, with its blue oceans and green continents stretching endlessly. The envoy observed quietly from the cockpit, analyzing every signal, every transmission, every flicker of electromagnetic activity. Humans appeared ordinary from space, unaware that their world was being watched by a species far older, far more experienced. The envoy's mission was clear: infiltrate, observe, and gather intelligence on the human military without being detected. Any mistake could alert the humans and compromise the entire operation. The craft touched down in a remote area, far from cities, where no human could stumble upon it. The doors opened silently, releasing the envoy into the unfamiliar world. The air was breathable, the gravity lighter than expected, and the atmosphere carried strange scents of plants and soil. The envoy adjusted its perception devices to scan the surroundings and locate human activity. Hours passed as it moved cautiously, avoiding settlements and roads, moving only under the cover of shadows and the dense forests that dotted the landscape. Finally, the envoy detected faint electromagnetic signals coming from a nearby military training area. Using a combination of cloaking technology and subtle observation tools, it approached the base. From a distance, humans trained in formation, their movements coordinated yet unpredictable. Drills that should have been repetitive displayed improvisation and adaptability. The envoy's multiple eyes widened. Humans were learning faster than any simulation predicted. Some formations practiced defensive maneuvers, while others simulated offensive strikes, changing tactics mid-exercise. Every action revealed a species capable of creativity, courage, and rapid adaptation. The envoy recorded everything, streaming encrypted footage back to the alien council. Every gesture, every decision made by the humans was logged and analyzed. The envoy noted details that could not be transmitted fully: their reactions to unexpected events, their teamwork, their ability to remain calm under stress. It was as if humans were capable of thinking in ways no other species had mastered. The envoy remained hidden, observing from the tree-line as humans rotated through their exercises. Suddenly, a young human soldier paused, scanning the perimeter with sharp eyes. The envoy froze, holding its breath. The soldier's gaze lingered on the forest, almost as if sensing something unknown, but after a tense moment, the soldier shrugged and returned to training. The envoy exhaled silently, knowing how close discovery had come. The human's instincts were strong, but not yet sharp enough to detect alien presence. The envoy moved closer over the next days, exploring other human installations while maintaining invisibility. It learned of their communication methods, their decision-making processes, and the way humans shared information among themselves. Even minor decisions revealed intelligence and foresight. The envoy began to feel a mix of admiration and concern. Humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and fast learners. They adapted to new situations with surprising efficiency. Any miscalculation by the Council could result in a species far more capable than anticipated challenging them. As the envoy gathered more data, it discovered a new layer of complexity. Humans were not just learning, they were teaching one another. Knowledge spread quickly, and mistakes were corrected with remarkable speed. The envoy realized that humans had an innate ability to cooperate, to strategize, and to innovate under pressure. It was unlike anything the Alien Council had encountered before. One evening, as the sun set behind distant mountains, the envoy recorded a human drill simulating an attack from an unknown enemy. The humans reacted in ways the envoy had not predicted, improvising maneuvers that were elegant, efficient, and unexpectedly bold. The envoy transmitted the footage immediately to the Council, adding encrypted commentary. Humans adapt faster than expected. Their strategies are unconventional but effective. Recommend continued observation. The envoy spent nights studying human communication channels, learning the rhythms of their decision-making. It noticed patterns in leadership, in delegation of tasks, in training and preparation. Yet, no pattern could fully predict human behavior. Every new observation brought surprise. The envoy felt a strange fascination with these creatures. They were fragile in appearance, yet fearless in action. They risked themselves for one another, and their creativity was unlimited within constraints. This combination made them both unpredictable and potentially dangerous. Days turned into weeks, and the envoy's reports began to alarm the Council. Humans were developing rapidly, faster than calculations had allowed for. Their military strategies evolved constantly, and their ability to cooperate in high-pressure situations defied logic. The envoy realized one fact more clearly than ever: humans were not a species to underestimate. One morning, while observing a simulated battle, the envoy narrowly avoided detection. A human scout had wandered closer than usual, scanning the terrain for threats. The envoy froze, its cloaking device barely concealing its presence. The scout paused, sensing something unfamiliar in the forest, but then moved on. The envoy sensors recorded every heartbeat, every shift in attention, knowing how close it had come to exposure. From that moment, the envoy understood that even humans' instincts could grow sharper. Every day was a test of patience and skill. The envoy sent another report to the council, warning that humans' learning rate and adaptability exceeded expectations. If left unchecked, they could evolve into a species capable of interstellar competition within a relatively short time. The envoy knew the next phase of the mission would be more dangerous. It would need to move closer to human leaders, to understand strategic decisions at a higher level, without revealing its presence. Any error could ignite suspicion or conflict. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the human training grounds, the envoy paused to observe the humans. They laughed, argued, trained, and planned, all unaware of the eyes watching them from the darkness. The envoy realized that the humans were not merely a subject of study. They were a puzzle, a challenge, and perhaps a glimpse of a species that could change the balance of the galaxy. The envoy whispered to itself in the quiet of the forest, "These humans are more than we expected. Watch them closely. Learn everything. One mistake could cost us, and one success could surprise the galaxy." The envoy's mission had begun, and the small blue planet continued to spin silently below, carrying humans who had no idea that their world was under scrutiny, and that their future would soon intersect with forces far beyond their comprehension. The alien envoy had been observing the humans for weeks, collecting data and sending encrypted reports back to the council. Every day revealed new surprises, but nothing prepared the envoy for what it witnessed that morning. The humans were conducting a large-scale military exercise near a canyon, simulating an ambush by an unknown enemy. From the tree-line, the envoy could see the formations, the movement of troops, and the coordination of units. It was impressive, but the envoy assumed that predictable patterns would emerge, as they always did. Yet, almost immediately, the humans defied expectation. One group veered off course, improvising a new route to flank their simulated enemy. Another squad responded to a feint that the exercise planners had not intended, adapting quickly and with precision. The envoy sensors recorded every movement, every command, every change in formation, but no algorithm it possessed could fully map what it saw. Humans were thinking on the fly, responding to unexpected situations with creativity, intelligence, and teamwork. The envoy felt a growing sense of awe and alarm. This species was not only learning quickly, it was evolving strategically in real time. It had encountered adaptive species before, but humans combined logic and instinct in ways that felt almost organic, almost intuitive. The envoy moved closer to observe the leaders of the exercise, curious how they coordinated such unpredictability. A young human officer shouted commands, gesturing, pointing, yet giving freedom for each unit to improvise. The result was chaos, or what should have been chaos, but it worked perfectly. The envoy transmitted the footage back to the council with a warning: humans are mastering unpredictability. Their strategies are adaptive beyond expectations. Recommend continuous observation. While the council would be impressed, the envoy knew that this live demonstration of human skill was just the beginning. Suddenly, a miscalculation in the exercise forced the humans into a dangerous situation. A simulated enemy was winning a key position. The young officer quickly analyzed the situation, issuing rapid commands that allowed the humans to regain control. What struck the envoy was not just their efficiency, but their courage. These humans did not panic, did not hesitate. They assessed, adapted, and acted decisively. The envoy sensors recorded the subtle signs of their decision-making: microgestures, shared glances, instinctive cooperation, and rapid problem-solving. The humans were learning from one another, communicating silently yet effectively, something no alien species had achieved in a similar exercise. The envoy realized the magnitude of what it was witnessing. These humans, fragile in appearance, were capable of reacting to complex threats in ways that defied calculation. Every move was unpredictable yet effective. If these beings could act like this in controlled exercises, how would they fare in real combat? And what if they faced an enemy far more advanced than themselves? The envoy's mind raced with possibilities. Could the council have underestimated them entirely? Could these humans rise to challenge other species in the galaxy faster than predicted? The questions were endless, and the answers uncertain. As the exercise concluded, the humans gathered to review their performance. They discussed mistakes, praised innovations, and refined their strategies for the next session. The envoy observed silently, noting that even in reflection, they improved. Knowledge spread instantly among them, and no lesson was wasted. The humans were not just soldiers, they were learners, innovators, and problem solvers. The envoy realized that this combination of adaptability, courage, and intelligence was dangerous. Not because humans were physically stronger, they were not, but because their minds worked in ways no alien species had accounted for. The envoy transmitted another report, this one with greater urgency. Human adaptability exceeds predictions. Their skill and coordination are beyond expectations. Recommend further study and caution in council deliberations. For the first time, the envoy felt genuine respect mixed with concern. Humans could survive, even thrive, in situations that would destroy other species. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and quick to learn. Their potential as a military force, if nurtured, was enormous. That evening, the envoy retreated to a hidden vantage point to review the day's observations. The canyon glowed with the last rays of the sun, and the humans were returning to their base, unaware of the alien eyes that had followed them. The envoy reflected on the data. Humans were not simply executing pre-programmed strategies, they were creating solutions in real time, improvising in ways that were elegant, efficient, and highly effective. One small misstep could have caused disaster, yet they adapted instantly. The envoy considered the council's instructions. Observe, report, do not interfere. But every day brought a new challenge to this rule. Humans were capable of actions that could easily expose the envoy if it moved closer to gain more detailed intelligence. Each day was a careful balancing act, gathering information without being noticed. The envoy understood that its mission had become far more critical. The human skill, courage, and unpredictability meant that the council's decisions carried greater weight. Misjudgment could have consequences not just for the species, but for the balance of power in the region. Night fell, and the envoy returned to its hidden ship to transmit the full analysis to the council. It included detailed observations, warnings, and recommendations. The humans were advancing rapidly, mastering unpredictability in ways that challenged all previous assumptions. The envoy realized that humans were not just another species, they were unique, dangerous, and fascinating. Its report concluded with a simple note: humans continue to surprise. Their skill exceeds expectations. Observe carefully. Prepare for unforeseen developments. As the envoy rested, it could not help but wonder about the future of this small blue planet. The humans, unaware of the attention they had drawn, were growing stronger every day. Their intelligence, creativity, and courage made them a species to watch closely, and perhaps one day, a species that could change the balance of power in ways no one had anticipated. The envoy knew that its mission was only beginning. Each day would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and new reasons to respect the human skill. And somewhere deep inside, the envoy understood a truth that would guide every report, every observation, every careful step. Humans were unpredictable, and that unpredictability made them extraordinary. The council chamber had never felt so tense. Reports streamed in from the envoy on the small blue planet, and the council members stared at the holographic projections with a mixture of disbelief and unease. The humans' actions were unlike anything the council had ever seen. Every simulation, every observation, every calculation had underestimated them. Their military exercises were not only precise but adaptive, their coordination flawless yet unpredictable. Some members whispered nervously to one another, while others openly questioned the reliability of the data. The elder counselor raised her many hands, calling the chamber to silence. "We have watched them for weeks," she said, her voice echoing through the vast hall. "And what we have learned defies every prediction. These humans are different. Their strategies, their courage, their adaptability, none of it fits our expectations." A younger council member, clearly struggling to mask his disbelief, leaned forward. "Are we certain these reports are accurate? Perhaps the envoy has exaggerated or misinterpreted their actions. Humans are still a primitive species. They have no fleets capable of interstellar travel, no advanced weaponry." The envoy's projection shimmered, replaying footage of humans in complex drills, improvising maneuvers and countering simulated attacks with ingenuity that no machine could predict. "The data is accurate," the elder counselor replied firmly. "We have no reason to doubt it. The humans are learning faster than any species we have studied, combining intelligence, intuition, and courage in ways that challenge our models." A tense silence filled the chamber. One of the older council members, a veteran of countless interstellar conflicts, spoke slowly, his voice heavy with concern. "If this is true, these humans are more than a minor threat. They may be capable of challenging us, or others in the region, much sooner than anticipated. We have underestimated them at our peril." Murmurs spread like wildfire. Some council members nodded in agreement, acknowledging the danger, while others shook their heads, unwilling to believe that a species so small and seemingly fragile could pose a real threat. The debate grew heated. One faction argued for immediate preemptive action, citing the humans' unpredictability and rapid learning as reasons to strike before they became stronger. Another faction advocated patience, insisting that observation and careful intelligence gathering were the wiser course. Voices overlapped, and the chamber rang with the intensity of the disagreement. The elder counselor raised her hands again to restore order. "We will not act hastily," she declared. "Humans have not yet discovered the wider galaxy. They are aware of some things, but not enough to pose a serious challenge. Our envoy reports that they have noticed anomalies, yet they remain unaware of the greater powers observing them. For now, we must continue observation. We will study them closely, learn their strengths and weaknesses, and prepare for future developments." The room settled, though tension remained. A few council members muttered about the danger of waiting, warning that the humans' growth could outpace their surveillance. Others nodded, understanding that patience was necessary to fully understand a species that defied expectation. The elder counselor turned to the envoy, who had remained silent throughout the debate. "Your mission is critical," she said. "Continue to monitor, gather intelligence, and report all developments. We must not alert the humans to our presence, yet we must understand them before any decision is made." The envoy bowed slightly, acknowledging the order. "It will be done, my lords," it said. "The humans continue to surprise us. Their adaptability, courage, and intelligence are exceptional. We will watch closely." As the council members began to disperse, the elder counselor remained seated, her many eyes fixed on the holographic projection of the humans. She could feel the weight of the decision they had made. Observation alone was dangerous. Underestimating the humans had already brought them closer to uncertainty than any of them liked to admit. Every report confirmed what she feared. Humans were evolving strategically, learning from every challenge, and adapting in ways the Council could not predict. The envoy returned to its ship, hovering above the human planet, reflecting on the Council's deliberations. The humans' rapid development and unpredictable actions had shaken even the most experienced members of the Council. This mission was no longer simple observation. It had become a test of patience, intelligence, and restraint. The envoy knew that every day brought new challenges. Humans were capable of innovation, quick learning, and cooperation on a scale that was remarkable for a species so young. Their decisions in military exercises, their instinctive coordination, and their ability to improvise under pressure had revealed a species far beyond initial calculations. That evening, the envoy reviewed the footage once more, noting details that might escape even the most careful observer. It recorded subtle gestures, patterns of communication, and strategies that combined logic with intuition. The humans had not only anticipated the simulated threats but had found ways to turn mistakes into opportunities. The envoy realized that humans were not just reacting, they were creating, adapting, and evolving in real time. The Council's shock was justified, yet it was only the beginning. Humans continued to grow, learn, and adapt without awareness of the attention they had drawn. The envoy understood that a species this capable could change the balance of power in the galaxy if underestimated. It transmitted a final report for the day. Humans continue to develop beyond predictions. Their skills, adaptability, and strategic thinking exceed expectations. Caution and observation are imperative. Any miscalculation could be catastrophic. As the envoy rested in the quiet of the observation ship, it considered the Council's decision to observe rather than act. It was a delicate balance, Too little attention, and the humans could grow unchecked. Too much interference, and they might notice the watchers. The envoy's mission had become a careful dance, maintaining distance while learning everything possible. Far below, the humans returned to their lives, oblivious to the scrutiny above. They trained, planned, and evolved without realizing the significance of their actions. Their courage, intelligence, and adaptability had already made them a species to watch, and the Council now understood that underestimating them was no longer an option. The envoy whispered softly to itself, a note of both admiration and caution. Humans are capable of more than we imagined. Watch closely. Learn everything. The future is uncertain, but they will shape it, whether we interfere or not. The chamber had made its choice, the envoy had its orders, and the humans continued unknowingly toward a destiny that would soon bring them into contact with forces far greater than themselves. The shock experienced by the Council was only the beginning, a warning that even the smallest species could carry the seeds of extraordinary power. The envoy moved silently through the forests surrounding the human military bases, its cloaking device rendering it invisible to the naked eye. Each day brought new challenges. Humans were clever, observant, and increasingly unpredictable. The envoy had learned to anticipate many of their actions, yet every encounter revealed a new layer of complexity. The humans adapted quickly, noticing anomalies in the terrain, changes in supply routes, and even subtle patterns in exercises. The envoy had to be cautious, hiding in shadows, moving only when the humans were distracted, and scanning constantly for any sign of detection. Despite the precautions, there were moments of tension that made the envoy's sensors flare with warnings. On one occasion, a patrol moved closer than usual, scanning for disturbances in the forest. The envoy froze, holding its breath as the humans approached. One soldier paused, listening intently, and the envoy sensed awareness brushing against it. The patrol moved on without incident, but the encounter reminded the envoy of the fine line it walked every day. The humans were learning, slowly sharpening their instincts, and even small mistakes could expose the watcher. Days passed, and the envoy moved closer to the heart of the human operations, observing communication centers, training grounds, and even decision-making hubs. Each observation added to the Council's understanding, but also increased the risk. Humans had begun noticing strange patterns in intelligence leaks, subtle inconsistencies in information, and unexplained disturbances near some bases. The envoy recorded these observations carefully, noting that human suspicion was growing. This required even greater caution, slower movements, and longer periods of hiding. The envoy marveled at the humans' ability to detect anomalies without fully understanding them. They were cautious, perceptive, and quick to question the unexplained. It became clear that any further exposure could provoke defensive actions or even retaliation. One afternoon, while monitoring a simulated battle exercise, the envoy witnessed humans responding to unexpected events in ways that were both efficient and creative. A sudden simulated ambush forced a unit to improvise their tactics. The humans adjusted instantly, forming new strategies that were unpredictable, yet effective. The envoy sensors recorded every detail, transmitting the data back to the Council with annotations highlighting human ingenuity. The Council had been warned, yet seeing humans in live action intensified the urgency of the reports. Another breakthrough occurred when the envoy observed a human leader correcting mistakes mid-exercise, teaching subordinates in real time while coordinating complex maneuvers. The humans communicated silently with gestures, eye contact, and subtle signals. Their coordination was seamless, yet invisible to outsiders. The envoy realized that humans were learning faster than the Council anticipated, adapting not only to challenges but to observation itself. Each day, the envoy sent encrypted updates, stressing the humans' capacity for rapid growth and unpredictability. The Council listened, analyzed, and debated, but the envoy knew that real understanding could only come from continuous monitoring. Nightfall on the human planet brought both relief and new challenges. The envoy returned to hidden vantage points to review the day's data, noting subtle patterns in leadership, communication, and strategic thinking. Humans rested, trained, and repaired equipment with a rhythm that revealed discipline, foresight, and resilience. The envoy reflected on the implications. If humans continued to evolve at this rate, they could challenge far older and more advanced species within decades. The envoy's mind, or what passed for it, raced with possibilities. Could humans unite their creativity, courage, and intelligence to dominate a region of the galaxy? Could they become a force no one expected? The answers were uncertain, but the risk was real. Surveillance intensified. The envoy moved closer to high-ranking human leaders, studying planning sessions, supply chain decisions, and defensive measures. Even from a distance, the humans' ability to coordinate, adapt, and innovate was astonishing. The envoy realized that direct observation was more dangerous than ever. Any slip could expose the mission, alert humans to the broader galaxy, and provoke reactions that might spiral out of control. Yet the intelligence was too valuable to ignore. One evening, while observing a human strategy meeting, the envoy noticed a surprising level of foresight. Humans were discussing potential scenarios for conflict, predicting outcomes, and preparing contingencies. They were planning not just for the immediate challenge, but for unforeseen threats as well. The envoy marveled silently. This species was learning at a level that rivaled many advanced civilizations. It recorded every detail, analyzing methods, logic, and creativity. The envoy transmitted the most critical findings to the Council, emphasizing the urgency. Humans are evolving faster than projections. Their foresight, adaptability, and coordination are exceptional. Observation must continue, but approach with extreme caution. Exposure could provoke unintended consequences. The envoy then retreated to a forested ridge overlooking the human base. Darkness fell, and the planet's quiet was punctuated only by the distant sounds of training and machinery. The envoy contemplated the humans' progress and the Council's choices. Observation alone could not predict every development, yet it was the only responsible course. Interference would reveal their presence and disrupt natural growth. The envoy understood that the humans' evolution was unpredictable, and this unpredictability made the mission both more dangerous and more fascinating. The night passed slowly, the envoy maintaining vigilance as humans moved, rested, and prepared for the next day. Every moment was a test, every action a potential revelation or threat. The envoy whispered to itself, acknowledging the delicate balance it maintained. Humans are learning faster than expected. They are unpredictable, resourceful, and capable. Watch closely. Do not interfere. Any mistake could change everything. The first rays of sunlight illuminated the training grounds below, and the envoy readied itself for another day of careful observation. Humans continued unknowingly, adapting, improving, and growing stronger with each passing day. The envoy knew that their evolution would shape the future, and that every report, every observation, and every decision made by the Council would influence what came next. Espionage had intensified, and the Watcher had become a silent witness to a species on the rise, capable of far more than anyone had imagined. The alien envoy had been observing the humans for weeks, carefully recording every movement, every decision, and every adaptation. Yet nothing prepared it for what it witnessed that morning. From its hidden vantage point atop a small ridge overlooking a human research and training facility, the envoy watched as humans unveiled a new piece of technology. At first glance, it appeared simple, a weapon system designed to enhance defensive capabilities. Yet as the humans activated it, the envoy realized that it was far more advanced than anything previously documented. The device combined speed, precision, and adaptability, responding in real time to changes in the environment. The humans tested it under simulated combat conditions, introducing obstacles, decoys, and unpredictable attacks. Each time, the device adjusted instantly, learning from the human operator's input and autonomously improving its responses. The envoy sensors recorded the phenomenon, streaming encrypted footage back to the Council with annotations emphasizing human ingenuity. The Council had warned that the humans were developing rapidly, but this level of innovation exceeded all expectations. The envoy felt a mix of admiration and concern. Humans were fragile in appearance, yet their minds were capable of creating solutions that rivaled entire alien fleets. Every action demonstrated adaptability, intelligence, and creativity in equal measure. The envoy realized that humans were not only responding to challenges, they were anticipating them, designing tools and strategies that could counter unforeseen threats with remarkable efficiency. As the day progressed, the humans conducted a complex training exercise using their new technology. The envoy observed squads coordinating seamlessly, combining the new system with traditional tactics. They communicated with gestures, short verbal commands, and quick, instinctive decisions. The exercise flowed like a living organism, each part responding to the others in perfect harmony. The envoy marveled at the efficiency and precision of their coordination. Even when the simulated scenario introduced unexpected variables, humans adapted instantly, altering tactics mid-operation without hesitation. The envoy transmitted every detail to the council, noting that this level of innovation and adaptability had never been observed in a species at this stage of development. The council's advisors would be shocked, the envoy thought, as they reviewed footage of humans outperforming expectations, demonstrating creativity, courage, and coordination. Later in the day, the envoy moved closer to observe human decision-makers. From a hidden perch, it watched as leaders analyzed battlefield data, reassessed strategies, and improvised solutions. Humans were learning not only from their mistakes but from each other, exchanging knowledge quickly, refining approaches, and enhancing efficiency. The envoy noted subtle patterns in their interactions: silent signals, shared glances, and instinctive adjustments that allowed them to function as a cohesive unit without losing individuality. For the envoy, it was both fascinating and alarming. Humans' ability to combine independent thought with coordinated action made them highly unpredictable and potentially dangerous. The envoy transmitted an urgent report to the council, highlighting that humans were evolving at a rate far faster than expected and that their capacity for innovation might outpace calculations in decades rather than centuries. The humans, unaware of the eyes observing them, continued to push boundaries. Engineers and strategists collaborated to improve the new weapon system, introducing modifications, testing new strategies, and refining their understanding. Every day brought new solutions, new tactics, and new ways to counter potential threats. The envoy realized that the species was self-propagating knowledge at an extraordinary rate. Each improvement, each lesson learned, amplified their ability to adapt and survive. The envoy sensors tracked these developments meticulously, documenting the humans' progress in detail. Even small innovations, seemingly minor to outsiders, had the potential to reshape strategic balance in the region. As night fell, the humans gathered around the facility, discussing the day's successes and failures, sharing insights, and planning improvements for the next day. The envoy remained hidden, recording the discussions, noting how information spread quickly, and how mistakes were corrected almost immediately. Humans were not only learning, they were teaching one another, creating a system of rapid knowledge transfer that rivaled any alien species the Council had previously observed. The envoy considered the implications. If humans continued this pace of innovation, they would quickly surpass many established civilizations. Their adaptability, creativity, and courage combined in a way that made them an unpredictable force, one that could challenge entire regions of the galaxy. The envoy transmitted a final report for the day, stressing urgency. Humans continue to innovate at a rate beyond projections. Their technology, strategy, and ability to learn are exceptional. Observation must continue. Exposure risks altering natural growth, but any miscalculation in oversight could result in a species capable of unprecedented influence. The envoy reflected on the Council's instructions. Continue observation, do not interfere. Yet every day, the humans' progress challenged this mandate. Their creativity, intelligence, and rapid development required careful monitoring, patience, and extreme caution. The envoy watched the humans retire for the night, their training grounds silent, yet the energy of progress remained. The species had grown stronger, smarter, and more capable with each passing day. Even without realizing the attention they had drawn, humans were building skills, tools, and strategies that could shape the future of the galaxy. The envoy understood that its mission had grown in complexity. Observation alone was no longer a passive task. It had become a delicate balance between learning everything possible and avoiding detection. Each day, humans continued to surprise, evolve, and innovate, proving themselves capable of actions far beyond initial predictions. The envoy whispered to itself, acknowledging both admiration and caution. These humans are learning faster than anticipated. They are inventive, courageous, and capable. Watch closely. Record everything. The future is unpredictable, and they may shape it in ways no one expects. The first rays of dawn illuminated the training grounds once more, and the humans prepared for another day of discovery, unaware that their innovations, creativity, and courage were being watched by forces far older, far wiser, and far more powerful than themselves. The envoy knew that its role as an observer was more critical than ever, and that every moment of human progress was a step toward a destiny that could surprise the galaxy. The alien envoy had watched the humans for months, recording every movement, every decision, and every innovation. Yet the Council now demanded a new approach. Observation alone was no longer enough. The humans' rapid growth and unpredictable nature required direct assessment. Subtle, careful interaction that would reveal their intelligence, ethics, and capacity for diplomacy. The envoy's mission had evolved. It would approach the humans, but only under the guise of a diplomat, concealed as something they might accept, something familiar enough to avoid suspicion. The envoy prepared carefully, analyzing human customs, language, and behavior from a distance. Every gesture, every tone, every mannerism had to be mimicked perfectly to avoid detection. The mission was delicate. One misstep could expose the entire operation. At dawn, the envoy approached a human settlement near a military base, disguised in a humanoid form. It moved slowly, observing humans as they went about their morning routines, speaking in measured tones, and mimicking human gestures. Even a small error could attract attention, and the envoy was keenly aware of the stakes. From a safe distance, it watched soldiers and leaders prepare for daily exercises. The envoy observed how humans communicated, their coordination, and their decision-making processes. Every interaction revealed intelligence, adaptability, and moral consideration. Humans were not only capable of learning, they were capable of ethical judgment, considering consequences beyond immediate gain. The envoy noted subtle cues, hesitation before action, concern for fellow soldiers, and the willingness to risk themselves for one another. These were qualities rare in any species the Council had observed, and they demanded careful evaluation. As the envoy drew closer, it intercepted a meeting between human leaders discussing a simulated crisis. The humans debated options, weighed outcomes, and considered the lives of their people in every decision. The envoy realized that humans' intelligence was matched by foresight and empathy. Every choice revealed creativity, adaptability, and a moral compass that made them unpredictable yet honorable. The envoy transmitted encrypted observations to the Council, highlighting the human strategic thinking and ethical considerations. The Council would be both impressed and alarmed. The envoy had prepared a scenario for direct interaction, a subtle test to gauge human response without exposing its presence fully. A simulated communication device activated near the human leaders, transmitting a vague, coded message designed to hint at the envoy's existence. The humans paused, analyzing the signal, debating its source, and attempting to decode the message. They did not panic, nor did they act rashly. Instead, they collaborated, assessed the potential threat, and responded with caution. The envoy observed every reaction, noting the humans' patience, intelligence, and problem-solving skills. This was the first time humans had interacted, even indirectly, with forces beyond their understanding, and they had done so without error. The envoy realized that these reactions demonstrated qualities far beyond simple learning. Humans were capable of adapting ethically and strategically under uncertainty. Later, the envoy introduced a more direct test, a simulated negotiation scenario using a holographic projection that resembled a neutral human figure. The humans were prompted to make decisions regarding resources, alliances, and conflict resolution. Each choice was recorded and analyzed. The humans displayed creativity, fairness, and pragmatism. They balanced their own interests with the potential consequences for others, demonstrating a level of reasoning that few species possessed at their stage of development. The envoy transmitted another report, emphasizing the humans' capability for ethical diplomacy and strategic foresight. The Council would now understand that humans were not just unpredictable. They were wise, courageous, and adaptable in ways that could shape the future. As the day progressed, the envoy remained close but concealed, observing subtle interactions. It noticed humans improvising solutions, sharing knowledge efficiently, and prioritizing collective success over individual gain. These behaviors were difficult to quantify but clearly demonstrated a high level of intelligence and cooperation. The envoy realized that humans could navigate complex social and strategic situations, making them a species capable of negotiating, adapting, and responding under extreme pressure. Nightfall arrived, and the humans retreated to their facilities, unaware of the alien presence nearby. The envoy reviewed the day's observations, recording insights into human decision-making, ethics, and innovation. It noted that humans had passed tests designed to measure intelligence, strategy, and morality, all without awareness of being tested. This was a remarkable achievement, one that confirmed the Council's initial concerns. Humans were extraordinary, unpredictable, and capable of shaping the galaxy in ways previously unimagined. The envoy transmitted a final report for the day. Humans demonstrate ethical reasoning, adaptability, and intelligence beyond projections. Their responses to simulated challenges indicate strategic foresight, collaboration, and creativity. Observation and indirect interaction confirm potential for significant influence in the future. Recommend continued diplomatic testing and careful monitoring. The envoy understood that its mission was now a delicate balance of observation and subtle interaction. Every action had to remain hidden, yet every interaction provided valuable data. Humans were learning, adapting, and proving themselves capable of decisions that could shape the course of interstellar events. As the envoy rested in a hidden location, it reflected on the humans' progress. They had faced indirect challenges, ethical dilemmas, and strategic problems, and had responded with intelligence, creativity, and honor. This species was capable of rising far beyond its current stage of development, and the envoy knew that any misjudgment by the Council could have significant consequences. The first rays of dawn illuminated the settlement below, and the humans prepared for another day of training, strategy, and innovation. The envoy watched silently, knowing that every observation, every report, and every interaction brought the Council closer to understanding a species capable of greatness. The diplomatic gambit had begun, and the humans, unknowingly, were passing tests designed by forces far older, far wiser, and far more powerful than themselves. The envoy whispered softly, acknowledging the weight of the mission. Humans are capable, adaptable, and intelligent. Watch closely. Test subtly. Their future may surprise the galaxy. The council chamber was unusually quiet as the envoy's latest report was projected across the central holographic display. Every member leaned forward, their multiple eyes fixed on the humans' latest innovations and diplomatic responses. The humans had passed every indirect test, demonstrating intelligence, creativity, strategic thinking, and ethical reasoning. Some council members whispered anxiously, while others openly questioned the implications. The elder counselor raised her hands, calling the chamber to order. "We have observed, reported, and tested," she began, her voice firm yet tinged with concern. "The humans have exceeded every expectation. They are intelligent, adaptable, and capable of ethical decision-making. Yet, the Council must decide how to proceed. Do we continue observation, or do we intervene before their growth accelerates further?" A murmur of tension swept the chamber. Some members argued that waiting too long was dangerous. One of the older, more experienced counselors spoke sharply. "These humans are unpredictable. They are learning faster than we anticipated. If we do not act now, they may grow powerful enough to challenge established powers in the region. Observation alone may be too risky." Another council member countered, her voice calm but firm. "We have seen them act with caution, strategy, and ethics. They have not yet discovered the wider galaxy, and they remain unaware of our attention. Preemptive action could provoke them, revealing knowledge they are not ready to handle. Patience is our greatest tool." The chamber erupted into debate. Factions formed quickly, voices overlapping in argument, some insisting on caution, others urging immediate preemptive measures. The envoy remained projected in the background, its observations silent but critical. Every argument, every nuance, every tone was recorded for further analysis. The humans' unpredictability had created uncertainty among even the most seasoned council members. Some argued that humans could be allies, capable of contributing positively to the balance of power if guided carefully. Others warned that unpredictability was dangerous and that the species could become a threat far sooner than expected. A younger council member, clearly impressed but nervous, leaned forward. "We have underestimated them. Their innovation, their ethical reasoning, and their adaptability exceed projections. Yet we know little of their future intentions. Intervention now may prevent disaster, but it may also destroy potential for cooperation." Another counselor's many hands gestured rapidly as he spoke. "We cannot gamble on potential. If these humans grow unchecked, we may face a species capable of changing the balance of power in decades, not centuries. The risk is too great. The elder counselor raised her hands again to restore order. We must consider all possibilities. Observation, intervention, diplomacy, alliance. The council must weigh each carefully. The humans are capable, intelligent, and unpredictable. We cannot act recklessly, nor can we ignore the potential danger. Tension hung thick in the chamber. Members paced, whispered, and debated strategies, all while the envoy's reports continued to stream live footage and analysis from the human planet. Every exercise, innovation, and ethical decision made by humans was scrutinized, adding weight to the discussion. The council realized that human unpredictability was a double-edged sword. Their creativity and intelligence could make them invaluable allies, but the same qualities made them potentially dangerous if underestimated or provoked. Arguments stretched on for hours, factions growing more entrenched, and no consensus was reached. Some council members feared that waiting would give humans too much power. Others feared that acting prematurely would provoke a species unready for the wider galaxy. The envoy watched silently, its mission unchanged yet more critical than ever. It transmitted further reports, highlighting patterns in human adaptability, innovation, and ethics. The council's indecision reflected the envoy's own concerns. Humans were extraordinary, and any misstep could have consequences far beyond immediate comprehension. The chamber continued its heated debate late into the cycle. Members presented simulations, historical precedents, and risk assessments. Some argued that humans' ethical reasoning suggested they could be allies, contributing positively to interstellar stability. Others countered that unpredictability, coupled with rapid innovation, made them a species that could not be trusted. The council's division grew, and alliances shifted with every new argument. Some members, traditionally cautious, began advocating for intervention. Others, usually aggressive in their tactics, warned of the dangers of provoking humans prematurely. The envoy recognized a pivotal moment. The council's indecision was a reflection of the human's own unpredictable nature. For the first time, some members acknowledged openly that humans were not merely a minor species. They were exceptional, capable of influencing outcomes far beyond their size or current technology. As the debate continued, the elder counselor made a final, decisive statement. The council is divided. We cannot agree on a single course of action. Therefore, we will maintain observation, continue subtle testing, and prepare contingency plans. No direct action will be taken unless humans show clear signs of interstellar intent or aggression. The envoy will continue monitoring closely, reporting all developments in real time. Relief and frustration mingled in the chamber. Some members applauded the decision, recognizing the wisdom in caution. Others scowled, frustrated that their recommendations for preemptive action had been ignored. The envoy recorded the moment, noting the psychological impact of humans' capabilities on even the most powerful members of the council. Outside the chamber, humans continued their lives unaware of the attention they had drawn. They trained, innovated, and adapted daily, passing the council's tests unknowingly. Their unpredictability had shaken the oldest, most experienced minds in the galaxy, proving once again that they were a species unlike any other. The envoy prepared for the next cycle of observation, knowing that humans' growth would not slow. Every decision, every innovation, and every ethical choice would continue to influence the council's deliberations. Humans were shaping the future quietly, steadily, and unknowingly, forcing even the most powerful entities to reconsider long-held assumptions. The council remained divided, yet the envoy knew that this division was the humans' first victory. Their unpredictability, intelligence, and courage had altered the perception of an entire interstellar governing body. The envoy whispered silently to itself, "Humans continue to surprise. They are capable of more than anyone expected. Watch closely. The future will be decided not by us, but by them." The council's divisions highlighted the extraordinary nature of the humans below, a species poised on the edge of a destiny far greater than anyone could yet imagine. The alien envoy watched silently as the humans continued their daily routines, unaware of the scrutiny that had followed them for months. From its hidden vantage point, the envoy recorded every innovation, every strategic exercise, and every moment of collaboration. The humans had grown remarkably, far beyond the council's original predictions. Each new development revealed intelligence, courage, and creativity that seemed limitless. From the envoy's perspective, Earth was no longer just a small, fragile planet. It was the cradle of a species capable of influencing the galaxy. Observing them, the envoy realized that humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and capable of actions that could not be fully anticipated by any algorithm. Their ingenuity in both technology and strategy had accelerated far faster than the Council had allowed for. The envoy transmitted detailed reports, emphasizing that humans were approaching a critical point in their development. Every innovation, every exercise, every ethical decision contributed to a species increasingly capable of interstellar significance. The Council's earlier divisions now seemed prophetic. Humans were proving to be extraordinary in ways that demanded respect, caution, and careful attention. The envoy noted a series of new innovations emerging from human research facilities, devices that enhanced communication, analysis, and defensive strategy. Each innovation integrated with others, forming a network of adaptability and coordination that allowed humans to learn faster and anticipate problems more effectively. The envoy marveled at their efficiency. Humans were not only learning, they were evolving strategically. As days turned into cycles, the envoy observed humans adapting to increasingly complex simulated scenarios. They were no longer just responding to challenges. They were predicting them, creating contingencies, and developing solutions that combined logic, creativity, and ethical judgment. Each success reinforced their capacity to act unpredictably yet effectively. The envoy recognized the significance. Humans were rising, not by brute force, but by intelligence, adaptability, and innovation. The Council had underestimated them at its own peril. The envoy continued to observe human social structures, noting how leadership and collaboration improved their decision-making. Mistakes were analyzed, lessons were shared, and every improvement contributed to faster, more effective adaptation. Humans were building knowledge networks in real time, enhancing not only their technology but their collective intelligence. The envoy sent another urgent report to the Council. Humans have reached a point of accelerated growth. Their adaptability, innovation, and ethical reasoning make them unpredictable and potentially influential. Continuous observation is imperative. Any miscalculation may allow them to surpass expectations sooner than anticipated. The Council would struggle to maintain control or influence over a species advancing this rapidly. For the envoy, each day brought new insights into human capability. It observed their ability to improvise during exercises, adapt to unforeseen events, and make strategic decisions that balanced efficiency with ethics. Humans demonstrated not only intelligence but a unique capacity for foresight and collaboration. From a distance, the envoy witnessed humans engaging in complex planning, anticipating potential threats, and preparing responses with remarkable precision. Their innovations were not isolated. They interconnected, forming systems that amplified their effectiveness. The envoy understood that humans were reaching a threshold, moving from a species constrained by limited resources and knowledge to one capable of shaping its own destiny on a larger scale. Night fell, but humans did not rest entirely. They continued research, discussion, and preparation, showing tireless dedication and determination. The envoy recorded these moments with awe, recognizing a species whose potential was unparalleled for its age. The Council's previous indecision had allowed humans to progress unimpeded, and the envoy now realized the scale of what they had become, a species that could challenge long-established powers, not through aggression alone, but through intelligence, adaptability, and coordinated innovation. One morning, a human exercise combined multiple innovations with advanced strategy. Units adapted instantly to changes, technology responded autonomously, and leaders demonstrated foresight that even seasoned alien observers found remarkable. The envoy transmitted the event to the Council with a stark warning: humans have integrated innovation, strategy, and ethics. They are capable of coordinated action that is highly unpredictable. The rise of this species is imminent. Continued observation is necessary to understand and respond. As the envoy continued its surveillance, it realized the humans' rise was more than technological or strategic. It was cultural, intellectual, and ethical. They learned from one another, shared knowledge quickly, and improved systems constantly. Their unpredictability was a source of strength, making them adaptable in ways no other species had achieved at a comparable stage. The envoy reflected on the Council's earlier fears and divisions. They had underestimated humans' potential, but now the reality was undeniable. Humans were not only surviving, They were evolving, innovating, and preparing for challenges that could extend beyond their planet. Their rise was inevitable, a combination of intelligence, courage, creativity, and collaboration. The envoy sent the final report of the cycle: humans are rising. Their unpredictability, adaptability, and innovation make them a species of extraordinary potential. Observation is critical. Intervention or miscalculation could alter the course of their development and the balance of the galaxy. Humans are no longer to be underestimated. The first rays of dawn illuminated the planet, showing humans training, innovating, and collaborating as if unaware of the monumental scrutiny they had drawn. The envoy watched quietly, knowing that every action contributed to a species poised for greatness. Their rise had begun, and nothing could halt it. The Council would have to adapt, and the galaxy would have to take notice. The envoy whispered silently to itself, acknowledging the truth it had observed for months. Humans are rising. They are capable, unpredictable, and extraordinary. Watch closely. Learn everything. Their future will shape the galaxy. The humans continued their work, unknowing, yet their actions had set in motion a chain of events that would determine the course of the future. The rise of humanity was no longer a possibility. It was a certainty, and the envoy would be there to witness every moment.